It's the Brad and John Show.
It is the Brad and John Show. It is April 17th. This is the B block, which means we started right around 7:20 or so. Okay, John, I'm going to see if I can get this to work. And this is from our friend, actually your friend and mine. He doesn't like me anymore. But your friend John. No, what am I saying? Hold on a minute, John. I got a problem here. Okay, go ahead. Say it again.
Is this, you said we have a friend named John. I'm guessing that you're having a boomer moment and you mean Jason Rosenbaum.
I have boomer days. What are you talking about? Yes, Jason Rosenbaum. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get this to play.
Oh, okay. AKA John. Okay.
Cara Spencer spent much of her successful St. Louis mayoral campaign talking about her desire to bolster city services like trash pickup and street repair. But one thing that came to mind at her inauguration on Tuesday is how much easier that would be if St. Louis was somehow part of St. Louis County. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a county resident and have some guilty conscience about living there. If the city were part of the county somehow, it could take advantage of a larger tax base to pay for things like improving roads, parks, our public health infrastructure. I asked Spencer whether some sort of formal union with St. Louis County would be part of her first term agenda.
Well, Jason, as I talked a lot about in my speech and over the last several months, we cannot continue to operate in silos. City, county, mayor's office, board of aldermen, we have to be working together and moving towards that. There are a million ways to do that, and we are going to be exploring that. I think it's really critical that it's community centered, that it has a broad range of support. So looking forward to those conversations in the coming months.
Boundaries that divide us are barriers to the future that we want for a better St. Louis. I know St. Louis is possible when we share a vision.
Okay, John.
Cara Spencer
you heard that.
spent
Let me stop that. You heard that okay, correct?
I did, yeah.
Okay, and by the way, if the STL PR people get grief to me because I played something that was one of their reporters, is my understanding of the copyright law. He put it up on YouTube, so essentially it becomes public domain, correct?
Yeah, and Jason's the only person from that station that listens, I think. So go ahead, Brad.
What? He's the only one who listens? Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah, so go ahead. What is your take on that?
How come this didn't make big headlines? I mean, how come Cara Spencer in her introductory speech to be as the new mayor of St. Louis is back together again? You know what I mean? I mean, here we go again.
Yeah,
no?
I mean, I think that so a couple different things. So first of all, I think people are having St. Louis City fatigue because Tashara Jones put us through a lot. If we're just an observer over the last year or so, and people saw the election, they saw Cara Spencer got elected. It's a big relief to a lot of people, a big win. And so let her focus on her agenda. If you think a city-county merger is actually going to happen, and I know there's a lot of people who maybe they would profit from people actually being scared about it, but the city and the county I don't think are ever going to merge. I don't think that even reasonable taxpayers that are Democrats in St. Louis County would want to foot the bill for what's going on in the city. Like, why would you want to saddle your own jurisdiction with St. Louis City problems?
And for those of you who don't know the situation, sometimes you have to, re-explain things because people aren't political animals like you and I are. This is an interesting situation. There's only two cities in the country, at least major. One of them is St. Louis and one of them is Baltimore. That the city is not in a county. Almost in every instance, if you look at Kansas City is in Jackson County. Springfield, I believe, is in Greene County, isn't it? And Columbia is in Boone County. Okay, and essentially they have a county layer of government. And you only have one collector of revenue, one assessor, all that kind of stuff. But in St. Louis City and St. Louis County, back in the 1800s after World War II, as the story goes, there were some rich St. Louis people who were not real happy about the fact that their tax dollars, because that was when St. Louis City was in the county, and when you got, essentially west of like Tucker at one point in time, it was like, there was Daniel Boone was out there with his musket shooting rabbits and things like that. Okay. there wasn't much in St. Louis County. The economic engine of the entire region was the city, and the county had literally little or nothing to do with economic and citizenship and the whole bit. Matter of fact, the story is I'm not to bob and weave again, but the city of Clayton, almost the entire city of Clayton, used to be some dude's farm, and he gave a bunch of property to the county, essentially say, you guys need a place to have a center of government, so I'm going to give you 20 acres or something like that. Okay. So this happened after the Civil War, where the city seceded, essentially left the county and became an independent city. And we had this, how long has this been? Like 10 years ago, or 10 years ago, we had the Better Together thing?
Yeah, it was around 2013, 2014, so a little more than a decade ago, yeah.
Okay, so we had that come about and that was essentially a Rex Sinquefield deal, wasn't it?
He was one of the primary backers of it. You're right. Yeah.
And they had this campaign, and I will never forget, they're trying to make nice with St. Charles County because they also wanted to essentially include St. Charles County. They never really came out and officially said that, but what's the guy's name? John Hancock, of Hancock
That's
and
correct.
Kelly.
And where did he go, Brad? And what did he say? And what was their reaction?
He showed up at the St. Charles County Council meeting one night when I was there to make fun of this and protest this, and he was, oh, it's going to be great, it's going to be wonderful.
He, by the way, John Hancock does not talk like a gay man, but go ahead, Brad.
Well, that day he did because he thought he thought that they would think
there will be no John Hancock slander on this segment, Brad.
And then the infamous time when we had a luncheon legislators with the O'Fallon the O'Fallon Chamber of Commerce, and was her name Nancy Rice? Was that her name?
That's correct, Brad. You were batting 1,000 today.
And Nancy Rice is the guest speaker at the O'Fallon Chamber of Commerce luncheon legislatures, and she gives us the how it's going to be so wonderful when the city and the county go together. And don't you want to be part of this? And the people in the audience were like, I can't believe we're listening to this woman. And then she makes this comment, which I will never forget. Apparently, she got lost coming out of the city, and she talks about how, well, on the way out here, I drove from the city. I drove out on Natural Bridge.
Now, Brad, what do you think about those houses on Natural Bridge? What do you think of them?
John, when's the last time you driven down Natural Bridge between one?
Brad, I'm teeing you up for one of your favorite stories.
It's a beautiful area. It
is, isn't it? I mean, it was great probably in the 60s too.
It's great now, John. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, see, here's the interesting thing. I'm a St. Charles County guy, I'm a Franklin County guy, but I'm a guy who is, and I'm like Eric Schmidt. I was born in the city of St. Louis. No, Eric Schmidt was we're talking Mike Keogh. Mike Keogh was born in the city of St. Louis, lived there. I was born in the city of St. Louis, born in Barnes Hospital, lived in North City, not too far from the old Chevy plant, if the old timers will remember that. Okay, then moved to Jennings. Okay, then spent after that 13 years of my life in North County, and I'm telling you right now, John, if I found a nice house in North County, I'd move back.
You would take it. And Brad, I think I interrupted you. I got you off on Natural Bridge. You were making a point about Better Together 6 minutes ago.
Well,
what was your point?
6 minutes ago. The problem is it's never going to work because it would be, let me give you an example. I don't know if this happens in your family. Let's say a friend of yours has a family where he's a very, him and his wife have done very well, and they've got a nice house in Wildwood, and he's a corporate executive at some big St. Louis corporation, and she's an attorney, and she's a staff consul at some big company in St. Louis. And all of a sudden, one day, his brother-in-law, who married his wife's, sister, calls up and say, hey, buddy, I just got out of jail, and the house got foreclosed on. Can my wife and I, your sister-in-law, your wife's sister, can we move in with you? Get what I'm saying, John?
Yeah, or I think maybe a better analogy would be if Spanish Lake decided one day to become a city instead of just a region, and then sent a letter to Huntley and said, hey, we're kind of connected via 270 and 40 and 141. We'd like to merge with you, Huntley, because we think that we could all benefit from a shared residential base and property tax base and city services.
John, you got it wrong. North County, Spanish Lake, and Huntley are connected by Lindbergh. Remember, you can get on Lindbergh and just keep driving from North County and end up in Huntley.
That's true. Or you could probably take 270 to 40 to 141, I'm guessing.
But that's not 141.
Yeah,
not
and let's
Huntley.
nitpick a funny example, Brad. Anything else you want to nitpick about that?
No, go ahead. But see, I mean, to me, here is can I give Cara Spencer's speech what she should have given?
Oh, yeah, please do.
She's going to stand up there in the dais, whatever they call it, and she's going to give this speech. And here's what she's going to say. And as for uniting St. Louis City and St. Louis County, my goal is to make the city the crown jewel of the area. We're going to hire 10,000 police officers. We're going to make St. Louis City so safe that it's going to be the safe spot in the country. That if you want somewhere to go where you know that nothing's bad going to happen to you, come to St. Louis City. We're going to bring back every major corporation. We're going to do a reverse stock split, and we're going to get InBev out of here, and we're going to have Anheuser-Busch back down at One Busch Place, and they're going to hire 10,000 more people in the city of St. Louis. And every company that's been in the city in the last 100 years is going to say, wow, look at what's going on in the city. We're going to move there. And every person who's ever lived in the city is going to go, wow, look at what's going on in the city. We're going to move there. And then the reverse is going to happen. People are going to be leaving St. Louis County. They're going to be leaving Franklin County, leaving Warren County, leaving St. Charles County to move into the city. And then when Dr. Page comes and says, hey, would you like to be part of St. Louis County? We're going to say, nana, nana, boo, boo. We don't want anything to do with you anymore. See, that's what she should have done. What do you think?
Yeah, that's completely realistic. I think there's probably moments when Cara thinks that, and then she wakes up, and then she realizes she's the mayor of St. Louis City, and she says, wow, did I really run for this?
I exaggerated that, but don't you think, I mean, and let's take it one step, a couple steps down what I said. What do they always say? Lead by example, okay? And if you want to show people that you really are a candidate for reunification, show that the place is really good. And right now, unfortunately...
Yeah, make other people want to join you.
Exactly.
Don't just go with your hat in hand and beg to be a part of their club.
Right. Not like for me, not being kicked out of a chamber lunching, but that chamber president coming to me and say, Brad, we really need you in this chamber. We really need you. Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah, boy, you have that fantasy a lot, don't you, Brad?
I do. It'll never happen. I see... there's some things that just are never going to happen. It's never going to happen. You're never going to see AOC and Eric Schmidt, hugging each other on the Capitol grounds. You know what I'm saying? You're never going to see that. It's never going to happen. You're never going to listen.
Brad, let me push back, Brad. So if you believe this will never happen, I said it's never going to happen. So when Cara Spencer gets up there and makes allusions, ALLUSIONOS, allusions to doing that, why can't we simply smile and nod and say, oh, Cara, yeah, sure. It's like a child telling you that they're going to, wake up and go to the moon that morning or something. You smile and nod and you say, oh, Cara, that's great. Like she's not harming anybody by pretending that the city's going to come back, So why don't we just smile and nod and go along with it?
But John, you're missing something. That woman who said she's going to the moon someday wakes up, grows up to be Katy Perry, and she gets on a spaceship.
Yeah, and has a little bachelorette party in the sky.
Right.
The best thing I heard about this, Brad, I saw a one-liner where some guy said, if being in the sky for 11 minutes makes you an astronaut, then I'm a gynecologist.
Did you hear the Gayle King thing where she got mad about people making fun of her? Did you hear that?
No, I didn't hear
she
this.
goes in this rant about, well, this is like, just like Alan Shepard. When Alan Shepard first went into space, he was I'm going like, okay, hold on a minute now. That would be like saying Henry Ford saying, one of these days there's going to be a car that's going to be able to go 200 miles an hour, and all the guys in the Ferraris are going to go like, yeah, that's already here. We're already doing that. Ferraris are already go 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's so silly.
And then Katy, and by the way, I've always liked Katy Perry. I'm sorry. I loved her from the minute she did I Kissed a Girl. I thought that was one of the world's...
I do, too. I think she was, when she had long hair, she was super hot.
Well, she's got long hair again now. I told you,
Yeah, I don't really... Go ahead, Brad. I think I was cutting out for a second. Yeah, I didn't watch any of the coverage of this, so I don't know what she looks like now. But she used to be super hot, like in the mid 2000s. She was super hot.
I have no complaints about her. I think she's a very attractive woman to this day. But I found it fascinating. I will never forget. I know I've told this before. John's going to roll his eyes. She did an interview. This is probably about a year after she became very prominent, and she told the story about Katy Perry. Her Perry is not her real name. Her real last name is Hudson. And they had her change her name because they thought she would be confused with Kate Hudson. Her real name is Katy.
Yeah.
Katy Hudson. And her mom and dad has a very interesting past. Her dad was a devotee of Dr. Timothy Leary. And if you know the stories of Dr. Timothy Leary was this crazy, he was like a PhD kind of guy that I think he was at Berkeley, UCal Berkeley or something like that. And he essentially said, LSD would help everybody. If everybody would take an LSD trip, it'd clear your mind and you'd be a better thinker and stuff like that. And her mother dated around quite a bit, and at one point in time dated Jimi Hendrix. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, can you imagine, nothing against your parents or my parents, John, but can you imagine if my mom came out and said, hey, Brad, if she's still alive, Brad, I never told you this, but I used to date Frank Sinatra. Whoa, my mom, you dated Frank Sinatra? Oh, yeah, he was a nice guy. And my dad came out and said...
And Katy asked her mom what type of STD she got from Jimi Hendrix.
No, she didn't.
No, she did.
Okay.
It's in her autobiography.
Okay.
She talked about it when she was up in space for 11 minutes, Brad. She recorded a podcast up there called Jimi Hendrix and Gonorrhea.
John's going way off the reservation with this. How did we get started talking about Cara Spencer? You
brought up a reporter named John, who I successfully put in my boomer translator as Jason Rosen.
I'm sorry. I'm having a bad morning. I've had technical problems this morning. Plus, I had an interesting night last night. Maybe I should talk about this. I went to the Links and Dinks or Links and Drinks event, which is a great networking event put on by this wonderful guy by the name of Sean Hutto. And who did I run into last night? I ran into the soon-to-be ex-mayor of Cottleville, Mr. Renkowski. And he was talking about the race. It was interesting. Now, he mentioned... And he was talking about the race for St. Charles County executive. He mentioned there's 4 people in the race now. Are there 4 people in that race? Do you know about this?
I only know of 3. Did someone else enter?
That's what I thought. I thought it's Law, Eigel, and Elam, or the 3 in there. And he said it's a 4-way race. And I'm going like, I don't know who the 4th person is.
Well, maybe Arnie Dienoff entered. Didn't Arnie Dienoff enter?
Arnie.
That's your buddy, Brad. That's the Brad Hildebrand of candidates.
I sort of like that guy.
I know. That's why I say that. You like Arnie Dienoff a lot. There's nothing he hasn't run for.
Anybody who has ever been to any kind of a council meeting in St. Charles County, be it St. Charles County Council, any city council meeting, any Board of Education meeting will know exactly who Arnie is. Exactly who Arnie is. And it's like, it's so, and I told you the story. I'm in the county building one day. I'm doing my taxes, paying taxes or something like that. And a guy comes up to me, hey man, are you Brad Hildebrand? It was Arnie. And I didn't recognize him at first. I've seen him at these county council meetings and things like that.
And you said, no, you're not, because you just assumed, as usual, he was a debt collector.
I said, no, I'm John Combest.
And he said, no, John doesn't show his face in public very much.
Yeah, he's sort of a reclusive guy. Okay, we have to take a break. John,
Brett, are we going to talk about 99.1 or not? I didn't even read the story because I was hoping you would summarize it for me.
Are we having fun this morning, John? Are you?
This is a fantastic morning, and it's not even Friday. But as Brad Hildebrand taught me last week, it's SHIT.
It's so happy it's Thursday. Yes.
Yeah.
So are you keeping score? How many digs have you put in against me so far this morning? Are we in the double digits yet?
I think I have any. I don't think I have any. I compared you to an old lady who drools out of the side of her mouth, and I poked fun at your inability as a boomer to get names correct. I think that's only 2, Brad.
So we're not in the double digits yet, right? Okay.
But I did call the new K-Love, Joy 99.1, and God Squad, that, you know, you guys came together on a collaboration on the apology line. So I called the apology line already, and I apologized.
557, I'm sorry. And people don't believe that's a real line. I put that up. 557, I'm sorry. You have something to be sorry about. 557, I'm sorry. Okay.